Hello and welcome to Tracy Momi Reads. I am back again with another video. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Something that I talked about in a couple of videos ago where I was going to start watching, like I have a list of books that were adapted for film, in television, movies and television. And the ones that I really, had a desire to see become a film or a TV series, I said I was going to watch those. So I do have a list, and like I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to get through all of them this year because I have so much content already scheduled. But I did want to interrupt my schedule to talk about this particular series since it is current-ish, right? I think it came out maybe a couple of months ago. And it is the series based on the book Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. And I did a review on this. I read it last year. It ended up being one of my favorite books. It was a book that sat on my shelf for years. And I don't know, because, and I think I said this in the review, that at the time, I hadn't read a lot of fantasy type books or books that had a lot of world building or things that required you to like really use your mind to imagine, what the author was talking about. So I was hesitant to read it. But once I picked it up, I couldn't stop. And I was so mad at myself for having taken so long to have jumped into it because it was excellent. It was excellent. And I was able, after becoming a more mature reader, to open my mind up to visualize, the things that the author was talking about in the book and what they meant by certain things. And the whole time I was reading it, I have to admit, although my mind was like opening up and I could see what he was talking about, I don't know that I was like, oh, this should be a movie or a TV show. But when I heard that it was going to be one, I was so intrigued because I'm like, was I way off in what I was thinking in my mind? Because the author had a lot to do with the TV series. And it's right now it is a series that is on Apple TV, and it stars Joel Edgerton, Jennifer Connelly, and Alice Braga. They're the main three characters. There are other characters in the movie as well that are quite familiar, but those are the main three. And like I said, when I heard that it was becoming a series and even starring those people, I don't know that they were who I had in mind. I don't even know who I had in mind as far as characters. I was so fixated on, everything else. And for those of you who don't know anything about Dark Matter, the book or the TV series, I'll give you a brief description of what the book is about, and then I'll get into how I felt the TV series compared. Okay, so there's a man by the name of Jason Dessen. He is when we meet him in the book, he's a professor, and I think it's of physics maybe, or something in that realm. He teaches at a college. He's married. He has a teenage son. Very a normalish life, His wife works at an art studio. I don't know if she's a curator or if she's just a manager or what she does there, but they just have a normal life. As you get into like that first chapter, which is partially here in the blurb, you learn that he was once like this brilliant scientist, right, who was destined to go on to do incredible things, but his wife got pregnant when they were younger and he chose her and the baby. Okay, so when the book opens, a friend of his is getting this big award, the Pavia Award or something like that, and it's something that he himself probably could have won had he not taken the path that he took, right? And he's a little leery about going because low-key he's jealous. It's like you watch somebody live out the life maybe you could have had. But his wife encourages him to go, so he goes, and he's like happy for the guy, and they talk, and because they've been friends since college, so this is a good friend of his. Well, and I will say that it was like a little bar or something close by Jason's house, so he walked there. So he's walking home after it's all over. He gets kidnapped, and I think I said that in the original video, like, who was out here kidnapping grown-ass men? Because Jason is like a good 40 something, right? So, and you know, he's a professor, a normalish life. Like he's not like, you know, someone with a lot of money. He's not someone with a lot of criminal ties. So you're just wondering what the heck is going on. So, and let me stop here because, you know, I try to be transparent because I know I can get excited and sometimes I'll say things and it's already out and it could be viewed as spoilerish. I'm comparing a book to a TV series, okay? TV series where all the episodes are currently loaded, a book that came out in 2016, a book that I know a lot of people have read already. So if you have not read it, if it is your intention to read it, if it is your intention to watch the show, you may want to stop watching this video because there will be some spoilers because, you know, as I try to compare and contrast the two, I'm going to have to talk about what was going on in both of them to some degree. So there's that. So if not, you can go and watch one of my other videos. For those of you that have read the book, you basically know what happened, right? That when he was kidnapped and he's taken to this warehouse and this guy, you know, he's unconscious, he gives him a drug or something, and he wakes up. He's like in this facility and all these people are like, oh my God, where have you been? You know, where have you been? We haven't seen you. You've been gone for a year. And he's just like, first of all, who are you people? You know, and they're calling him Jason. They seem to recognize him, but he has no clue any of these people are. And as he, you know, comes around more and he's looking and, you know, everything, he really is confused about where he is. He doesn't know this place. And they're all like, this is your lab. This is what, you know. And he's like asking about his wife and they're like, you're not married, you know, what are you talking about? So they're thinking that, oh, he's just confused because he's been gone a long time, maybe he has amnesia, but he is certain that no, I don't have amnesia. I really legitimately don't know you people. So as the story continues, we've learned this guy, you know, his wife Daniela, you know, when we meet them, when the story opens, well, and this Jason never married Daniela. He made the choice to go and pursue becoming a world famous scientist and create all this stuff, right? So that's where you begin to see that this is about multiverses, parallel dimensions, and a bit of time travel, because the Jason, you know, that these people are telling him that he is, that Jason has all these accolades, he's done all this stuff, but he never got married, he never had children. And so we learned that he was wondering what it would have been like had he made the other decision. And he had created this box. They kept calling it the box, but it was essentially a time machine that could take him to other universes, right? So maybe not so much a time machine. I don't know if that's the accurate way to describe it. But it was a machine that allowed him to go to different universes and, you know, throughout the multiverse and different timelines. So I guess in that respect, it would have to be, I guess, like a time machine. But anyway, so he is the one, he went back, he saw the Jason that's married, that had the kid, that was a college professor who appeared to be happy. And he decided, you know what? I've made all this money, I've done all this stuff, I want to live this life now. And he just goes and snatches that man from his life and drops him into his. But the thing that he didn't consider is that Jason who was married with the kid, he never was like, you know, he had like, oh, I wonder what it would have been like, but he really never had a real desire to truly do that. He was totally content and totally happy with where he was. So now he's fighting to get back there. As you know, he's learning more about the world where he is, and they're telling him about this machine. He starts to put together what's happened to him. And that leads him on a journey to try to get back home by taking that box and, you know, traveling throughout this multiverse until he can get to his wife and son. So now you would probably think, just from me telling you that story, that how in the heck would that be able to be transferred to film, and how would they, you know, how would that look, and, you know, all this stuff. And that was like I said, that was my concern. But I have to say, they did an incredible job. It was very, very well done. And the box, it was exactly how I envisioned in my mind. Blake Crouch did such an incredible job at describing it that I could see, you know, it's like, what they did is, like, when you got in the box, it was like it was like almost like a storage container, and you're just, you look around, there's just four walls, not a whole lot of space. But they took these drugs that his friend Ryan had created to open up your frontal lobe, because apparently our little weak human brains, we can only absorb and see so much of what's around us, right? But when that opens up, it opens up everything. And in that box, it was this long corridor that was just never ending, front and back. Those walls were totally gone. And each door, depending on your emotions and how you felt, that's what controlled the box. When you opened it into a world that reflected your feelings, right? So they did an excellent job at portraying that. I mean, I would highly recommend, if you're into something like that, to watch it. I mean, the visuals were on point, even with the neighborhood and the little bar, and when he was walking home and how he got kidnapped, and where he ended up being taken. All of that, it was like it leapt off the page. They did not mess with that or change anything in that respect. Let's see. As far as the characters, I don't know that I would have, cast Joel Edgerton, but he did an incredible job. He was really good in the role. Because if you read the book, that there ended up being, every time he went to a door that wasn't his world, he was leaving remnants of himself. And if you are a fan of the Marvel Universe and you watch Loki, you know about, those variants that are kind of left behind every time you visit a different place. You're basically leaving part of yourself, part of your DNA. So there were a bunch of Jasons that he was leaving behind that were now trying to come back to find Daniela and their son, Charlie, right? And all of them had different personalities and different experiences with that box. So it meant there had to be a myriad of emotions and different things that this actor had to, bring to the screen, and he did an incredible job. His wife Daniela was played by Jennifer Connelly. She did okay. I mean, I feel like she was okay. I don't know that she had as much range as he did, but it was believable. I was never sitting there going, oh my God, she's such a ditz. I mean, because obviously in the book, even, the character Daniela starts to suspect, okay, why do you all of a sudden do X, Y, Z? Or why didn't you know about this or that? Because, the Jason that comes to take that timeline, he knows surface stuff about, their life. But he didn't even know that Charlie had a peanut allergy, and he almost killed that boy with some peanuts. But, yeah, the other thing that I thought was cool, in the book, there was a guy named Leighton that he kind of funded, helped to fund Jason's, the box and all the work that he had done, in that timeline. I don't know why I felt like I was imagining an older, thin white man with glasses that, was kind of wealthy. I mean, obviously, if he had money to do that. Well, in the book, he was played by like a younger black man. And I really liked his character, because in the other Jason's timeline where, Jason was married and had a kid, he was wealthy, but he was kind of just like, spending his family's money with no direction, kind of like a gigolo playboy type situation. And I don't think in the book, I don't remember him really having anything to do with Leighton in that timeline, but he, knew him in both timelines and interacted with him. And I won't spoil this part, but there was a part where he got Leighton in that timeline, the one that was just kind of lazy and not doing anything, involved with that box, okay? And then there was another part where, there were several different Ryans. You remember, he's the guy that created the drug, and he was the guy that got the award when the book first opened. So there were all these variants of these people that they knew, and they were different in their timelines. Well, I can tell you right now, based on how it ended, I feel like there will definitely be a season 2. And usually I'm not a fan of that, because I feel like when a book ends, the book ends, you know, and the series should end, because it ended like the way the book did. The first season did end, and I'm saying that they're going to do a season 2. It would make sense, but I haven't heard anything about it. But the way that they did it was so clever. Like, I would watch it. Even it's like it's a whole new story, because people got left in the wrong timelines, and you know, there people still using that box. So it would make sense to kind of follow their stories, or to maybe conclude with how they get back to where they're supposed to go. So yeah, it was very, very good. It was like very a very cerebral, very psychological thing, where you had to suspend belief, but because it was right there for you on the screen, it was not hard at all. It seemed real, and it seemed plausible, right? Yeah, so they definitely would have, I feel like, could do a season 2, because the Leighton in the timeline, you know, where he spent the money to get the box operated, he ended up getting in the box, because, you know, the Jason that got dropped there, he took the box to he wanted to go back, so he escaped. And so that Leighton went after him, and they never showed what happened to him. So I'm like, where is this dude? Y'all just like forgot about him? So that's why I'm really thinking that there's going to be a season 2. And the thing that I don't know that I was so much confused when I was reading it, but I thought about it when I was watching the show. So in theory, there's this box, right? When you go in it, you know, you take these drugs, and you go through these doors, and this stuff happens, right? But the thing that's crazy is that only the internal parts of the box must be moving, because like I said, that Jason, you know, got in the box. So he was trying to escape. And this woman, Amanda, that's who Alice Braga played, and she did a really good job. I really liked her role. But so they get in the box, and they take the medicine and, you know, the drugs, and they go through all these timelines. Well, Leighton was able to get in the same box. So it's like the box itself does not move. Like it spawns other boxes, right? Like, so when they take the drugs, there's all these doors. So they open a door and go out into that world, their box is still there. So that's the only part to me that was a little confusing, because I know in most like movies and shows, when they kind of do time travel, if they're doing a box or a booth or something, like it stays there because the person is gone to another place, but they were in the box. So I'm like, how is it still, you know, back at the lab? So that was the only part that confused me, both in the book and the movie, I guess. But like I said, I don't really remember the confusion in the book, but in the movie, I was just like, so why is the box still there? But, you know, it's sci-fi, it's, you know, fantasy, it's entertainment. So you can't get too deep and worry about like those little things. But yeah, overall, I would definitely, you know, give the series an enthusiastic 2 thumbs up, 4 stars. Excellent. I mean, the cinematography, the casting, everything was just incredible. They did a really good job. And even when they were going through the different doors to the different worlds, even those worlds were, you know, done really well. You know, the futuristic, the dark and scary, that when they got stuck in the snow, all of that appeared. I don't think that they cut out very much, because, you know, that is the thing about a lot of times when books are adapted, they have to cut out so much because of the runtime. But I think breaking this into a series allowed them to be able to include a whole lot more from the book. If they would have, instead of, you know, if they would have gone the movie route, they probably would have had to cut a lot of stuff. They were even able to add some stuff, which it totally did not distract from the story. So if you were a huge fan of Blake Crouch's Dark Matter, you're absolutely going to love that TV series. You're absolutely going to love it. Let me know in the comments if you have watched the TV series and how you think it stacks up against the book. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure that you like this video And if you have not already done so, go ahead and subscribe to my channel and turn on that post notification bell. And why don't you share this video with someone who you think may enjoy my content? Thanks again. You guys have a great day. Bye.